I want to thank this committee, Honorable Chair, for the support, the continuous support that you've given to the ministry and indeed the State Department in executing its mandate. I am aware, Honorable Chair, that the second supplementary is before Parliament. I want to ask this committee that we've pleaded for reinstatement of our initial budget that was removed in the supplementary one, so that we can be able to execute some of the things that you can see we've not done. So, Honorable Chair, I know that supplementary will be coming before you in Parliament. I want to ask this committee that you support the reinstatement of the budget that we had requested, especially for the operation and the settlement of the landless.
I think it won't be very fair if you can look for that money for Kitui Road for compensation of those people. I think it has taken long, and I'm very sure we have already compensated so many new projects on the same. I think we have no any excuse other than allocating money to clear with the Kitui people.
I think one person must admit they are wrong. Because if we go with this, and I'm not doubting whatever the State Department has done, then we discover it had a problem. Do we go back to Kenya and tell them, no, they were not these titles, they were these titles? I think it's a very serious issue. Somebody must own it up, because if the Treasury table, a BPS which has mistakes in Parliament, is also meeting the entire country.
The budget policy statement is prepared, is done from Treasury, and then transmitted to Parliament. And it appears that's what we went through in the morning. These are the figures we are looking at, the reports as extracted from that statement. So I just want to say that maybe the problem lies with the desk officer. He gave us misleading information, and it should be put on record that maybe that's where the problem is. And we've agreed that we'll proceed based on the presentation done by the Ministry or the State Department. Then after that, we'll, as proposed by Honorable Rachel, we'll have a sitting with the desk officer so that we can iron out those gaps.
Those have been done long time ago. There's no money, so people know NLC and compensation is one and the same. When they come, we have no solution for them. Sometimes we even receive patients who are dying. They have cancer patients. They need to go to India. They have no money. There was even a case of Mutomo Kuwezi, a mother going to India. Me and Beth, I think we had to go out of our way just to do undertaking for that woman to go to India. And because we have to put our records that this woman, when the money comes, we replenish our accounts. So we go extra mile with this, but it's actually it's a concern to all of us.
Annual target was 8,000, and the achievement was 1,284. Why should we target you almost double to 14,000? Again, you can see here on number of parcels, you targeted at 50,000. You achieved 9,514. What should you target 200,000 compared to what you achieved here?
I think that's what I've just explained, Honorable Chair. For example, I'm just being...
Yes, the question is, how scientific is this?
It is.
Because we should be able to derive some of these targets based on our past performance.
Yes.
So that it's not just, dropping figures. I mean, there must be some rationale which can be justified so that even our targets are smart. I mean, you're able to convince people. You see what we are saying? After we are done with this meeting, we are going to do this presentation to other people. So you must convince us first.
Yes, Honorable Chair. Let me just give you an example. On the land settlement, in the last financial year, we did 12,000, Honorable Chair. Our target, as per the document maybe you have, was around 16,000. That was the target that we had given ourselves before the budget cuts. We had done 12,000 in the last financial year. But when the budget cut came, we reviewed downwards to 8,000, Honorable Chair. As of December, we are done 1,200. Honorable Chair, we now have the titles for Kipini, which is part of this, which was supposed to be issued by the President actually, I think on Thursday. We have titles for Kipini, we have titles for Weru, around 6,000. We have titles for Mijikenda, which is part of the settlement. If we ask the same report, Honorable Chair, next month, we will have surpassed the 8,000 targets that was given to us. What happens is that the first half of this financial year was a bit slow, Honorable Chair, and we were not supposed to meet, which we ought to have been at 4,000 if we were to go.
You see, that's the kind of information we need. We don't work in the ministry, and you know it. You don't involve us in your activities, so we're not able to, track down. Because if you give this document to a person who doesn't sit in this committee, you'll not be able to convince him. I mean, what I'm trying to say, Banapias, is that you have a lot of information which you are not willing to share, which you are not giving us. All right? We know we are giving titles, like in Kipini and all those other places you have mentioned. But you see, we don't have that information. So it becomes a bit hard for us. Because what we have done is just to hold information.
I'm sorry, Honorable Chair. We were just filling the form as it asked the information. There was no provision for any other projects that are ongoing, Honorable Chair. And we were asked to provide the information as at 31st of December, Honorable Chair, and we were just sticking to the format of the form that is provided.
No, it's as it were. What we're saying is that even when you give us this information, you should be able to come out and explain yourself and say this figure is based on 1, 2, 3, 4. Something that we're able to touch and feel and even visualize from a distance. Because, we're just looking at these figures. We don't know the basis under which you are giving a target of 200. Given the fact that when you had a target of 50, you were only able to achieve 9,000, which is not even a quarter. It could be just around 1/5 of your initial target. And we are saying that it's not so realistic that you can move from 50 to 200 when, So, but when we have information, then it becomes easier for us to understand and even conceptualize on how you're going to achieve this. Maybe on your remarks, that's the kind of information we require.
Well guided, Honorable Chair.
Then proceed.
Remember, for example, on this one we had a target of very many land offices to digitize. The digitization of land records and automation of land processes are ongoing in Mombasa, Isiolo, and Marsabit, Honorable Chair. On the land offices, we had a target of doing 4, Honorable Chair. That budget was cut to 0, Honorable Chair, so there was nothing we could do on that one, Honorable Chair, as at 31st December. And even unless it is reinstated, Honorable Chair, we might not be able to achieve any of those by the end of the year. But luckily, Honorable Chair, we are hoping that in the second supplementary, it will be reinstated so that we can be able to complete the 4 targeted offices, Honorable Chair. 25-26, we have a target of 4, 26-27, 4, 27-28, 4, Honorable Chair. Bere, we are at 92%, Bomet at 92%, Orkalau at 92%, Kitui at 90%, Naivasha at 60%, Samburu 47%, Laikipia 40%, and Ngong 12%. We completed, Honorable Chair.
Sorry for disturbing the presentation, but I don't see anything about Motobo. Number of land offices constructed, or is it to be constructed? I just want to be sure. He doesn't have to respond now because people have been going to my constituency. People's hopes are they raise people's hopes that the office is going to be constructed, but nothing happens. So, Chair, I would like to ask PS whether he can be on record whether there is hope of having this gazetted office.
Sorry, Honorable Chair, I think what we indicated here are those registries that had already been constructed, and we had some percentages. I think for Mutomo Chair, we had planned but we had even put the money in the initial financial year. But you know, when that budget was scrapped to zero, then the other hidden registries that we were supposed to have started. But now, if you read my the construction of land office budget was reduced to zero in the supplementary. So so actually, what we have listed here is where we have pending bills, because now these registries have been constructed to some level. In fact, for the case of Gomet, which we put 92 chair, we've actually proceeded to tell the contractor to hand over the office to us, because it is almost done and we can use it as we organize the finances. Chair.
We have been on record, Chair, unless you say that we erase everything that we said before the PS came. We have discussed, we have identified areas where we are surprised at how this, how the ministry came up with these figures, places where we are seeing zero, and we have discussed and we were on record. So, Chair, who is wrong? So that before we proceed, you can we can make a decision on that. Who is going to drop their figures? And how did these figures find themselves on the floor of the House? Because they'll say that National Assembly, as usual, they just drop figures. Because that is the accusation out there. Who is making us drop these figures?
Katika ile bunge ambayo ilipita, tulipewa barabara kutoka Kibwezi kwenda Ikudha, kupitia Mutomo, kwenda Ikanga, kwenda Kitui, kuelekea Kabati. Ikapatianwa na Muburuto. Na wananchi wa kwangu wakakubali barabara ijengwe kutoka Kibwezi kwenda Ikudha, kwenda Mutomo, kwenda Ikanga, kuteremka hapo chini kwenda hivi, inapanda inaenda Kitui. Sasa mimi nataka kuuliza, tulipeana mashamba yetu ijenge barabara. Na sasa wananchi wangu wanalia, wanasema hawajawahi lipwa. Mheshimiwa Chair, hii pesa ni 1.7 billion. Hiyo barabara yote. Na wale wamelipwa, tumeona katika hiyo list yao wale wanalipwa. Mtu mmoja analipwa 1.7 billion. One person. Hawa ni watu thousands. Wamekosa kulipwa 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. Nyinyi mnajua hata mnaharibia rais. Kwa sababu yeye kwenda Kitui itakuwa ni ngumu sana kuongea na wananchi wakiwa wanadai hii pesa ambayo imekaa miaka inaelekea 7. Wacha niseme 7, si 10. Sasa nataka kuwauliza wewe chairman, umekuwa hapo miaka 5, miaka 6 inakaribia. Na umeambia komiti saa hii tuko 0. Hakuna vile unaweza fanya uhakikisha watu wa Kibwezi Kitui wamelipwa. Hakuna vile unaweza kataa useme hutalipa mtu mmoja bilioni 2 ukiwa na watu zaidi ya 1,000 ambao wanadai 1.7 billion. Hiyo ndio swali yangu.
Asante sana mwenyekiti. Sikuwa nimetayarisha kujibu hilo swali, lakini kawaida huwa tunapata hela na kuelekezwa kwamba tutalipa kwa project fulani au fulani. Mara ya mwisho tulipata hela ya kiasi kwa huu mradi wa Kibwezi Mutomo, ilikuwa miaka 2.5 na kama nakumbuka vizuri, karibu 3, tulipata shilingi 1,200. Na hizo hela tulilipa taratibu milioni samani Kiswahili nacho saa zingine milioni 200, na tulilipa hizo hela taratibu tukamaliza. Ndio sababu nasema saa hizi hatuna hela. Lakini hilo swali lingejibiwa vizuri zaidi na Kenya National Highways Authority, na labda kama mngetuita pamoja bila mmefanya wakati mwingine, ndio muulize hilo swali, muulize kwa sababu gani mnaweka bajeti kwa project fulani mnaweka na zingine mweki. Na kumbuka pia hata kuna wakati kwa hapa tumeulizwa kwa komiti kama ni ubaguzi, ni kama kuna ubaguzi wa watu wa Ukambani. Hiyo siwezi jibu hiyo, kwa sababu sasa ni swali ambalo likijibiwa na Kenha na wizara.
Tom Mogora, Head of Supply Chain Management.
Welcome you to our today's meeting. We've already this year, and actually we are starting with the so this million acres. It featured.
I am honored to the policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026 as per your letter referenced dated 14th of February 2025. Honorable Chair, in your letter on the following, the implementation status of the financial year 2024-2025 budget as at 31st December 2024, comprising cumulative financial performance, actual outputs achieved relative to the approved targets, and the status of capital projects in the format provided. Honorable Chair, you equally wanted us to address you on the key policies.
Ministry of Finance, Madam.